Let's talk about Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Not just important in the DC universe, not just important in the comic book space, but important in popular culture. Talk to me about your strategy when you assign creators and when you assign development of them moving forward. How does that all work out? Because you were dealing with three very important people.
That's a really interesting question because I always tell the same story about Superman. We can have everything working extraordinarily well in our entire line. But if the Superman book's not working, for some reason people feel like the DC universe is off kilter. When people are excited about a Superman book, the rest of the line seems to elevate with it. I mean, listen, Batman's our bestseller, no argument there, and we have an incredible team on board with Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. They've been doing a great job since the launch of New 52. And we've been wanting to get Superman going and excited, and we've had some great creators on board, and we had some starts and stops along the way, but the reality is, with the launch now that we have taking place with Jeff Johns and John Romita Jr. Now, with John Romita Jr., I've been trying to get John here since I joined DC over 12 years ago. So the fact that he's on board and doing Superman with Jeff Johns, and the fact that we got Klaus Janson to work with him also, is just spectacular. When you see it, you see a level of energy, you see a level of excitement, and more importantly, you see a lot of the iconic nature of what Superman is, that I think people who love Superman will gravitate to the book, and people who even just know Superman will want to see it as well. When you do those two, it only makes sense you want to go for Wonder Woman as well. Sure. And again, we got a tough act to follow. We got Brian Azzarello, Cliff Chiang going, and I can't tell you, it's one of those situations where you have a lot of people wondering, how are you going to be able to follow Brian and Cliff? And it's interesting because you have Superman and Wonder Woman that are extraordinarily iconic. Yes. They're more about what they stand for than characters. And those are very hard stories to tell in a comic book on a periodic nature. And people are afraid to get them dirty, but the reality is that what makes these characters exciting is the fact that they are able to handle these problems and still rise above it and still be strong. And that's what's important, what we're going to try to accomplish, and will be accomplishing with the Superman book. And now that we have the new team that's about to step on board, which it's been a lot of rumblings about this, I'm very happy to say that Meredith Finch and David Finch will be taking over Wonder Woman as of November.
Nice.
Brian and Cliff are going to be wrapping up this story in October. Then we got Meredith and David coming on board. And David's coming off a great run on Forever Evil. He's done some beautiful work on Batman, and the fact that he's working with his wife on Wonder Woman's got me very excited. We've brought her in several times now to talk to her and work through the story. We left him behind. He had to finish drawing for Forever Evil. Right. But we brought her in. We sat her down. And even more importantly, she sat down and got on the phone with Brian Azzarello, and we want to really coordinate the handoff. Brian's done some brilliant things with the character, and really has reinvented the character really for the New 52, but also for contemporary times. And we don't want to lose any of the momentum. We don't want to lose any of that excitement. And she's very respectful of what Brian did and is listening to him and working with him. And the fact of the matter is that she's taken a lot of the things that Brian's left hanging in his story and is going to start building on it. And I think for longtime fans of the character and the characters that surround Wonder Woman, they'll be pretty excited to see that first story unfold.
We talked about these three big creative teams, but there's a guy who's always been there throughout all of these situations.
There is a rock in DC Comics, and I can't express how important he is to us and how important he will always be to us, and that's Ivan Rice on Justice League. Yeah. It was great that he took a little bit of a break to do Multiversity #1, which is absolutely spectacular. I had a chance to read it the other day, and I had a chance to read it again, and I'm going to go back and read it one more time. But what I want to say is that it was a brilliant book, it's a brilliant art, and he's such an incredible artist, and he loves working on the DC characters. He brought such a style to Aquaman and was so integral to the launch of Aquaman with the New 52, and now what he brings to Justice League really just, again, solidifies the entire look of the line. I couldn't be happier with so many of the art choices that are taking place right now. What I really find interesting is that on our key characters, we have these incredibly superstar artists, and then what you're starting to see on the middle section of the line is some really interesting risks being taken, some different looks, some different styles. You're going to see some different type of look coming into Batgirl and other books taking place. So I really feel that while we're taking really good care of our main characters, we're really broadening the overall appeal of the line, bringing more diversity to the line itself. But as I said, when Superman's working, when Batman's working, when Wonder Woman's working, the rest of the line feels strong. So I think you're going to see a great DCU, from October on.
Every day, Blair and I are traveling to bring you the biggest and coolest stories from the world of DC first.
That's right. If you don't want to miss any of those stories, make sure you click and subscribe to DC Entertainment.
Make sure you click and then watch the videos.
Yeah, because we can't do those for you unless you want us to come to your house.
We can watch with you.
Yeah.
Blair can watch with you.
Is your computer in your bedroom?